still be productive as he was in the beginning of the fight, at the end of the fight.
Abel, what do you make of Canelo's size? How big are you got?
You know, it doesn't matter how big he gets. On September the 15th at about 1 o'clock, he's got to weigh 160. So as long as he makes 160, he can do whatever he wants, whatever he feels is in his best interest.
The jab was such a key weapon for Golovkin against Jacobs. Do you think that's going to be similar in this fight?
I think it's going to be used, but I don't think it'll be the kind of fight that you saw with Lemieux. I think that Canelo's a different kind of fighter. I think that Canelo's going to give us the opportunities to use a lot more of the weapons.
What does it mean, Abel, for Gennady to have Max up in camp? What is that bond like, and how do they work off each other?
I think it's more important for me. Yeah, I think Max knows him better than he knows himself. I think that I've seen the interactions with Max and Golovkin and Gennady, and at times it's like Max is the older brother, telling him exactly. And obviously I'm not understanding, but you can kind of hear it in the tone of the voice, what he's doing wrong, what he needs to do more, and so it helps me a lot more. I think that helps Gennady.
And you guys have a heck of a bond, but that bond between brothers is something that...
15 minutes apart. I think that we're in there for 9 months, and they know each other better than anybody else could ever know.
Have you ever had anybody work harder than Gennady?
Terry was a very hard worker also, Terry Norris was, but Terry's after the gym activities were detrimental to his career. Where Golovkin is not, Golovkin is a family man. He's always been very, very reserved. He just got his first car about 6 months ago. He didn't have a car before because he said he spends all the time in the gym. He doesn't need a car, so he's not the type of guy that's going to go out at night and I'm going to lose him for a day.
Abel, Gennady hasn't spoken that much about his new baby publicly, but have you seen sort of the excitement in him about that, or has he completely distanced himself from it?
He's excited. I mentioned it to him last week about me being concerned. He says, Coach, he says, the baby's going to come whether I'm there or not. So, and that's true. He said, I already done my part.
You've seen so much of this, and a lot of people are saying, obviously, you have to wait to see what happens Saturday. That's a given. But that there could be 2 or 3 of those. That this is the kind of matchup people would want to see more of if it's a great fight, no matter which way it goes Saturday. Do you see that, and do you think it would have to happen in somewhat of a quick time, given his age?
I said this a couple years ago when they talked about it. There could be 2 or 3 because I saw Canelo evolving and developing into that kind of fighter. No, I think that 3 fights in a couple years, still 37 years old.
It'd be okay.
I think it'd be okay. And maybe as he gets older, maybe it's what they were trying to do now and be more competitive.
Abel, I almost called you Canelo. Abel, are you surprised?
Not red. White.
Are you surprised that so many people seem to be picking Canelo to win this fight, given what Gennady's accomplished? And why do you think they are?
No, I am extremely happy about that because I think that's what our sport needs. It needs 2 sides. It can't be a fight where there's no interest because there's so long one-sided. I'm happy that they're picking them, but September 16th, those same people are going to be rooting for whomever is doing the best. I think that the Latin fans, the Mexican fans just want to see a good fight.
What do you think makes them pick Canelo, though? A year ago, I think everybody would have picked Gennady.
The Jacobs fight.
Just the Jacobs.
The Jacobs fight, but I've said this before. If the Jacobs would have fought Canelo that night and we would have fought Chavez, I think the outcome of both of those fights.
Hey, well, what do these 2 guys need to do to attract the kind of casual fan who this is sort of like the one pay-per-view that they're going to buy a year, or that they're not a normal fan? I mean, can they win them over with 1 fight, or what do these 2 guys have to do?
I think they have to give us the kind of fight that Estrada and Cuadras gave us the other night, a couple nights ago. They're obviously not going to, neither one of them is going to be bad-mouthing the other guy. They're not that type of people, but the Cuadras-Estrada fight with 1 or 2 clinches in the whole fight, and they fought to the end. I think that's what people want to see.
Abel, what's the most dangerous thing about Canelo for your fight?
He's got very fast hands and very good counter-punching combinations. He throws combinations in a row. He throws 4 or 5 shots. So that's one thing that we cannot allow him to do. Allow him to get into a rhythm like that.
How do you stop it? What's your
being first? By being first, not necessarily with punches, but with something. Golovkin is very adept, I should say, at cutting off the ring, at feinting, and being in position to take your mind away from what you were thinking. So we just have to be working for 3 minutes of every round.
Abel, you've been in Las Vegas many times for so many champions. You mentioned Terry Norris, but first time at Gennady, it's got to be kind of special to finally get here on the big stage, right?
It's very special. This is where all the big fights happen, man. This is history. And if the fight is as good as we're thinking it's going to be, then it's going to be remembered like the Hagler-Leonard fight of our era. It's extremely special. To him, I think it's just a ring. Right now, it hasn't sunk in, I don't think. It's a ring, a ref, and Canelo on the other side. It could be anywhere. He said it could be on the moon. But it'll sink in.
Does he seem any way different this week? Because this is a massive event.
Yeah, he's smiling a lot more. Yeah, he's in a great mood. I don't know if it's because the baby's here or because he finally has the fight that he's wanted. He's so motivated. He has been motivated for this fight. He's not frustrated because it's not an opponent that nobody feels has a chance. And what Mike just said about people picking Canelo, that even motivates him more because it's that perceived threat. He knows it's a fight.
Abel, was there any discussion about Gennady leaving camp to be at his baby's birth?
No, when I talked to him on Thursday, I was starting to voice my concern. You know, that the baby's not here. He says, Coach, like I said, the baby's going to be here whether I'm there or not. I've done my part. On Friday, when he got a call, I think about 12 o'clock, she was going to the hospital. I said, okay, we'll go home. Go ahead and go home. He said, no, we're going to train at 3 o'clock. We're training, Coach. So he didn't leave the gym probably till 6. The baby was born at 4. The fight's more important to him. His business is more important.
Has he seen the baby yet?
Yes, of course. The baby, his wife is very athletic. She works out every day, so I think she was in the hospital one day. She came home the next day, so he was home with him.
Can you lure Canelo into a firefight, do you think, and is that what you want?
I don't think we have to lure him into a firefight. I think the things that he's saying tells us that he wants to fight. He's not gonna run. He's gonna stand in the middle of the ring or at least close to Gennady to make it a fight. He's talking about knocking out Gennady. So that just tells me that maybe he wants to fight, which is great for all of us.
Logic says that rematch clause emboldens him, doesn't it? Because he has really nothing to lose. I mean, yes, he can lose the fight, but he can fight again.
I think the rematch clause and the contract and the money are secondary to both of these guys. I think that the fact that this is the defining fight for their careers and more for Gennady because he hasn't gotten the recognition, I think that emboldens him more. I think that they want to do well because of that.
You talk